Hey guys, welcome back to episode 6 of the Poop Naked preseason podcast for season 2 of our league. Just finished with Josh's video. He seems pretty fraudulent, but overall has arguably the most valuable team in our dynasty league. Today we're focusing on Mr. Abe Hankey, one of the only guys I haven't really met. I've talked to him I think I've talked to everybody at least on the phone. Abe is pretty good buddies with Ben Phelps, owner of the Cleveland Steamers. They live together, or they live in the same area in northern North Dakota, if I recall correctly. Mr. Abe Hankey Esquire, definitely the grouchiest member of the league, always seems to be complaining about something, especially when I'm trying to abuse my powers for my own personal gain. So we'll go through his team, see if we can piss him off a little bit more. Going up to the bar graph, we find him kind of next to last. Overall, not super valuable. It looks like he's got fairly even distribution in terms of the pie between running backs and wide receivers. Quarterbacks maybe a little bit below average. Again, we are in contender view. Since he was a playoff team last year, we'll be looking at him through that lens again. So going through the positions from left to right, quarterback, I kind of agree with this ranking of number 9. It's hard for me to think off the top of my head a worse overall quarterback room. He definitely has 4 starters on his team, and that's about all you can say. CJ Stroud, good draft capital, traded up to get him. Definitely good value falling to Abe at 6. I think that was probably one of the best value picks in the draft. Easily his most exciting quarterback. Doesn't offer a lot of rushing upside. Questions about processing power for him, but he's probably the most accurate thrower to all levels of the field. So really like CJ Stroud, but if I'm contending, I would prefer him as like my quarterback 3, especially going into his rookie year. Derek Carr, probably a pretty bit undervalued. I think of him as like dollar store Kirk Cousins. He was pretty good in Las Vegas last year. Definitely a good quarterback too, but doesn't really offer any rushing upside. So hard to win the week out of that super flex position, assuming that he's going to be rolling with Carr in the starting lineup. Baker Mayfield, I think good candidate to bounce back. I have a feeling he'll be the starter there all year unless he just implodes. He's got good weapons. That offensive line's pretty bad, but I think at the end of the season, we'll definitely see him improve on this pretty low value. I mean, to see him ranked in the same, like less than Deuce Vaughn, is kind of wild to me. And that's kind of the problem with some of these calculators. They're made basically on hype. Mayfield was like a first overall pick and is just kind of disappointed. So kind of a weird valuation there. Definitely someone to watch throughout the season though. Tannehill, solid QB2, offers a lot more rushing upside. I think he's more valuable than Derek Carr. I think the difference here is age, and he might be on the last year of his contract. But I would feel really good about Tannehill in like my super flex or my QB3 spot, even though he's probably in one of the worst offensive situations. Moving to running back, this is more like it to me. Top 3 feels about right, considering he has 3 very high-end running backs: Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor. You could definitely make the case that either of them will finish top 5 this year. Taylor, kind of weird with the holdout and the back injury and the ankle injury. So that's going to really hurt, I think, Abe week to week. But he's got good he's got good running back 3 in Najee Harris. Really good volume play here. I think these 3 I would feel really good about as the top 3 if I was a contender. So really good running back room. Pretty not super great as far as the bench. Deuce Vaughn's interesting, but he's like smaller than me. So hard to imagine that he'll do much as the running backs 3 in Dallas. Wide receiver room, this is much more like it. He has 2 very high-end wide receiver ones, both very young. love Amon-Ra, love Devonta Smith. I think they're both in perfect situations for their style of play. Debo, I think, is a really interesting bounce back candidate. I would love to be rolling out Debo Samuel and Michael Pittman as my wide receiver 3 and 4 every week. Jalen Hyatt, certainly very interesting player. But then after that, it really drops off. Will Hunter Renfrow pick up where he was 2 seasons ago? I doubt it. It sounds like Jacoby Myers is pretty good lock to usurp him. Marvin Jones, I think he's with the Lions, but pretty dusty. I think it's funny that Randall Cobb has literally zero value after Rodgers asked him to come over. I think he'll probably be like a desperation flex, but yeah, after the top 4, maybe 5, it really drops off hard. So very top heavy, to number 2 overall position rank. In terms of tight ends, I think this is a very underrated room, and I would probably guess that he's going to be starting one of these guys in the flex, given that we have such a high bonus for tight ends per reception. Goddard is great. I think he's a really interesting piece, perpetually undervalued, really talented guy. He always tortured North Dakota State when he was with the Jackrabbits. I love him. I would feel great with him as my tight end 1. But I think to really smash, he's going to need either Devonta Smith or AJ Brown to get hurt. So solid guy, a good ceiling, but if he's doing really well, there's a good chance that Smith might be hurt, or maybe Hurts makes a progression as a passer. But either way, really good tight end. I think probably much more value. I'd say probably like tight end 6 or 7. Cole Kmet, young guy, could argue top 2 target for the Bears. Just gave him a good extension. I would feel great about having him as my tight end 2. So I think this is probably a little bit of a misrepresentation of the total value in his room, given that his top 2 guys, it's a pretty heavy high-end room. Darnell Washington, I think he's more of a blocking tight end for Pittsburgh. I'd have to double check that. But Logan Thomas, old, hurt last year. I think he tore his Achilles. So I'm not expecting much from him. Might be a cut candidate after this year. Hunter Henry, I can't recall if he's lighting it up for the Patriots camp or not. Really hard to say. Interesting stash, probably his tight end 3. I'm guessing the difference here is just because of the age. Moving to his trades, it's pretty empty. I think this is dustier than it's pretty dusty. Like, this is a corner of your shelf that you haven't seen in like 5 years. I know I've tried to send him all kinds of trades. He's rejected them every time. He sent me a couple interesting ones, but hopefully he pops the seal this year and gets some more skin in the game. Otherwise, you just some cut moves here. Looking at his team, I believe he has all his picks. I don't know if he has any other ones. Yeah, still has all his picks, so in good shape. He's definitely going to be one that'll be interesting to watch. Does he decide to rebuild? Does he decide to try to make for the playoffs? If it were me and my team was kind of on the fringe, I always say if you can get in the playoffs, you should try, because you never know what'll happen. But I have a feeling that his quarterbacks will really hurt him. Missing Jonathan Taylor will really hurt him. It wouldn't surprise me if around week 7 or 8, he was on the outside looking in. And he's certainly got some interesting pieces to sell. Might be able to flip Nick Chubb or Najee to a contender if it comes to that. But it wouldn't surprise me if, Stroud's very good. Derek Carr plays really well. Tannehill has a resurgence. I could see this sneaking into the playoffs, but, I can't see more than like top 5 or like 5 or 6 being like the ceiling for this team. So really good luck, Abe. Can't wait to see if this pisses you off or not. You might have some work to do, but it might be a really fun year. So good luck. We'll see you guys in the next one.